What if I could tell you could double your business by fixing only your operations? Well, Matt did that and he 2.5x his business within 4 months, and Tom, who 4x his business within a year, or Taylor, who was able to double his business within 30 days by working less than he was working before. Well, in this video, I'll show you the formula and the process that I've used to help over 50 people do the exact same thing. So using this formula, I was able to do that. So the formula states as average revenue per client times the number of clients times average monthly retention is what basically determines the size of your business. And I'll show you how we can influence every single component of this formula to actually double your business in a relatively quick period. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to look at the starting situation, right? So you have three main components. Let's say we have a situation where the average revenue per client is going to be $10,000, where the average number of clients you're managing is going to be 10, and the average monthly retention is going to be 6. This is currently a $600,000 business when we take these numbers into consideration. And oftentimes what people do is say, hey, I want to double my business, and they say, hey, I'm just going to increase the number of clients that I manage and just bring on more clients and just keep everything as is. And so when they start to scale, you can see their number of clients go up by 50%, but also what happens is their average monthly retention actually decreases by 50% as well, because they don't have the systems required to support these new clients. So what happens is they increase the number of clients, but their average monthly retention decreases because just the quality of the service went down, because they didn't necessarily have the system in order to be able to support those new clients. So if we look at the equation again, we're going to see, all right, average revenue per client stayed constant at where it is, so 10,000. The number of clients increased by 50%. Now it's 15. And then the average monthly retention decreased from 6 months to 3 months. And we can see still that it's the same size business. We didn't change anything. We're just now handling more clients. I would even state that this is even a more stressful business to run, because you're managing more clients and not really keeping them, and you're constantly having to find newer clients just because you're not keeping them that much. So this is the scenario that a lot of businesses are in, and this is what you can do to basically unstuck yourself from this scenario and fix your operations so you can actually scale and double up. So the next scenario that we can look into is, hey, what if we invested in building up the systems required and the operations so all of these three pieces of the equations would increase? So how can we do that? So on the average revenue per client, so this is how much are you valuable to your client and how much they're willing to pay you. We can do a couple of things on the operation side. So number one thing we can do is we can set up a client portal. And this is a very much a nice to have in the client services space, especially in the B2B space, because a client portal that's well branded and has a login for your clients, and they can see all of the different reports. They can take action, raise support tickets, maybe do some QA in the portal. It's a rarity in the space, and you having that client portal basically raises you above everyone else in the competition. The second thing you can do is you can increase the scope of services you provide to your clients. Unless you're going to have very polished systems, you're going to find yourself actually struggling to do this, because if you're struggling to handle your existing scope of services, you're going to have a tough time scaling that up into more and a wider area of services you can provide to your clients. And then finally, and this is oftentimes overlooked, is like you can just get better results for clients. If you fix your operations and you have a better process, a more predictable process that's streamlined and it's repeatable every single time, as a result, you're going to get better client results for your clients. And basically a correlation to that, they're going to be willing to pay you more, and you're going to be able to charge more money. On the second segment of the equation and the formula, we're going to be influencing how many clients we can actually serve. Oftentimes, sure, businesses can bring on more clients under their management, but they're oftentimes capped by just how much clients can they fulfill. So things we can do on this segment is we can implement an automated project management system or a general fulfillment system that is very streamlined and allows you and your team to just manage a higher number of clients at the same constant quality of service. This is usually the main reason that stops people from just growing their business, because they're just unable to manage more people. The second thing we can do is we can map out the entire process map and all SOPs and documentation for your business. This is going to influence how well your team is able to deliver the service, and to what extent is it standardized? Is it the same every single time? So if you're building a website, does your team follow the same process every single time? Or is your QA a mess because every single team member kind of does different things, right? So mapping out the processes and getting the SOPs implemented is a big component we can influence. The third thing you can do is you can identify who are the right people to hire and hire those team members and get them working in your system so you can increase the number of clients you can manage. So these are all three things we can do to increase what is our cap in terms of how many clients we can manage and keep the quality constant. And then the final thing we can do is we can influence our average monthly retention. So this is basically how long is a client willing to pay us for our service in continuity. And in the agency space, this is usually the toughest thing to do, just because agencies have a really tough time keeping clients for a long time. But I'll show you what you can influence. So the first thing you can implement is you can track client activation points. And what these things are is they're basically points in time where your clients hit a specific result, right? So it can be how long does it take to onboard a client? How long does it take to get a client their first result? How long does it take a client to basically get a return on investment, to pay back their investment they paid you, right? These are all things we can map out and track how long does it take to reach these points. And then by doing that, you're going to be more deliberate into getting clients to these specific results. And then once you hit every single one of these milestones, you can celebrate that with a client. And this is tried and true. We've done this for multiple people. This increases retention like clockwork. The second thing you can do is you can create automated custom reports. Most businesses that we work with, they have really, really bad reporting systems. It's usually a Google Sheet that they have to manually copy and paste data into. Their Fridays are a mess. It just takes them hours and hours on end on a Friday to just compile weekly reports into a spreadsheet, and this tends to be really, really messy. The way you can fix this is you can create an automated reporting system that's nicely branded and gives your clients all the right information they need, and even better if you can do that in an automated fashion and they can self-service and see that portal and go into somewhere and see a dashboard with all of their stats and numbers. This then becomes a way better service and ultimately influences how long they're willing to stay with you because they have a better understanding of what are the results that you're providing for them. And then the third thing you can do is by having really good operations, you can increase the level of communications that you have with your clients. I have seen this many times over. Clients that have a great service, they deliver great results, but they just have a really bad communication cadence with their clients. And what ends up happening is clients turn out to churn just because they weren't even aware of the result that the agency was bringing them. So by streamlining your operations, you're going to be able to increase the level of communication that you have with your clients, and by effect of it, increase that average monthly retention. So now let's look at the formula that we had at the start. And if we just implemented all of these things, I think it's fair to say that conservatively, we could probably increase every single one of these segments by 33%, right? So we increase the average revenue per client by 33%. We increase the number of clients we can handle by 33% as well. And then we increase the monthly retention by 33% as well. I think if you would agree with me, if you implemented all of these things, I think this is a pretty reasonable thing to expect. So let's look at how does the formula play out. So average revenue per client increased from $10,000 to $13,000. The number of clients we can handle increased from 10 to 13, and then the average monthly retention increased from 6 to 8. And as a result, this is now almost a $1.4 million business, which signifies a 2.3x increase in the total business size. So if you just increase each one of these segments by 33%, you can see how easy it is to double your business in a short period of time. And again, we've done this for more than 50 people. We've built systems for companies as as small as $10,000 to as big as $3 million per month. And if you want my help into mapping out how can we do this for you and how you can implement systems in your business, you can book a call with us below.